Hi, y'all. Well, I must admit that yesterday I just completely lost it. Just completely lost it. My massage therapist here in Texas that I've known for years now refuses to see me if I don't wear a mask. Even though, she knows I have asthma and PTSD and, several other things that preclude me from wearing a mask, besides the fact that I'm sane, which happens to be, another reason, a handicap that prevents me from wearing the mask. Anyways, plus, she's got to work on my face and my jaw because I broke my jaw and I have a facial injury. That's one of the reasons why I go to this specific therapist, because I have a facial injury. And I don't know, I fucking lost it yesterday. I just had like a meltdown. I can't believe that people, even here in Texas now, they're locking them down. They're gonna, my sister works, she runs a plastic surgery clinic here. And earlier, as soon as this kicked off, she got a 50% salary cut, which, brings her down to like 25 grand a year in money. And then also, the doctors that work there as well got a 50% pay cut. It's been pretty bad. And then they restarted last month in May. And, they made up some money and some surgeries at their clinic. And now they're threatening to shut down again and stop all non-essential surgeries. And, they're just going to play this game with us like we're a bunch of yo-yos. I guess it's for as long as we're going to take it. And from the looks of it, we're just going to keep, like that old, was it Journey song, Don't Stop Believing? I mean, it's the kind of same sort of bullshit. People just literally believe whatever the government tells them. Even though, they lied about weapons of mass destruction. They lied about the sinking of the Lusitania. They lied about the Tet Offensive. They lied about Pearl Harbor. They set that up as well. It's mind-boggling to me that people still just blindly believe whatever the government tells them. And especially, they only believe people who are being paid to lie to them, right? Doctors are literally being paid to diagnose people with CV, literally being paid to intubate them, and paid when they die. And people believe so much in doctors and in authority. It's heartbreaking. And I don't know, maybe I would have been one of these people if 18 years ago doctors hadn't done their best to kill me. And I learned a long time ago that, you can't trust them either. You think that they're pure, but they're not, because they're operating based on what that insurance company tells them to do. Even the military doctor, they're operating under TRICARE, which is the military insurance, and I call it try to get care, because that's pretty much how it is. You're trying to get them to care, and you're trying to get them to do something for you, and they don't want to, because, they don't make any more money. Military doctors don't make any more money if you live or die, so they don't care. You take away profit motive out of anything, then you end up with people who just don't give a shit. So anyways, I figured instead of being upset and crying, that I would come down here to the TMC, which is the Texoma Medical Center, and just see, because it's not very far from my house, let's just see how much mayhem is going on here. So the last time I was here was in 2017, and my mom had a saddle pulmonary embolism, which means it's a blood clot that branches from both sides of the lungs. That's why they call it saddle. This is new, this four-way stop like this. So the last time I was here was in January of 2017, or actually February of 2017, because I moved to New York City on January 7th of 2017, and then immediately after that, my mom got sick, and I had to come back to Texas for a while, and my sister and I were taking turns sleeping in the hospital next to her. And if my sister hadn't been allowed to be in the hospital with her, she would have died. These doctors, they were trying to release my mom she had these symptoms of super low blood pressure to the point where, she passed out going to the bathroom, and normally she has to take blood pressure medicine. So my sister, having worked around doctors this whole time, knew that something was wrong, and I knew too, because my granddad, which is my mom's dad, had died of a saddle pulmonary embolism as well. In fact, a lot of people in our family died of it, and my mom's the only person who survived. So when they tried to release my mom without having even screened her for this embolism, my sister was there and, said, no way that's happening. We need to get in this other lane. So, now they have everything, what do you call it? It's made to where you can't, like in the hospitals in New York City, you can't go in with your patient, right? You can't go in with your mom when they're dying. You can't go in with your grandma or whatever. And, they can literally do anything to them. And nurses are overloaded with patients. They have more patients at a time than they're supposed to deal with. So the interesting part here is, so TMC is still working. So this is good. See, in New York City, everything is completely shut down. Here in Texas, they haven't shut us down again quite yet. We'll go up here and see. Oh, here's the emergency. Let's go over to the emergency entrance. So it looks just as busy as it did back in 2017. There's the emergency entrance over here. I don't see anything going crazy. But I know they are threatening to shut Texas down, which, I don't know, led to part of my meltdown yesterday. I don't know. I just fucking can't take it anymore. People will literally believe anything that's on the TV. So this is the emergency entrance for Texoma Medical Center. In the middle of a pandemic, you can see inside there that there's nobody even in the waiting room. Nobody's even in there. Jesus. And still people believe, that there's the plague is going on. So here, this is my first Texas video in terms of checking out hospitals. When they lock us down again, which is probably what's going to happen, I will be back up here. I got to go turn in this car this morning and get my Porsche out of the garage. I'm excited. This car's pretty nice, this Ford Escape, but it ain't a Porsche. Oh man, I was probably pretty crazy to move to New York City in the first place. But I did learn a lot. I learned a lot in construction there. And I enjoy the people at my job. Both of my bosses are just great. In fact, my one boss is from Texas. His best friend lives in this town that I'm here in right now in Sherman. So, and I'm going to go back to the house now, get my mom, and she's going to follow me down to Plano, where we're turning in this car, or this truck. We had some barbecue yesterday. My sister came over. That was fun. I love barbecue. I don't think, I had barbecue once in New York City. If I didn't make it, I made it once. But when I went to a restaurant, and they have a pretty good place there. It's pretty expensive. The only thing is it was really salty. Like, so salty I couldn't eat it, and I like salt. So that tells you something. Whenever you go to a restaurant and the food is too salty, it means it's low quality food and they're trying to cover it up with salt. Same thing with sugar. A lot of times you go somewhere and their desserts, like their cannoli or something like that, is super sweet, which it shouldn't be. That's because they're not using good ingredients. That's another one, like the what is this? I forget, it's a Greek dessert. It may be spanakopita, but I don't know. I may be the wrong thing. But it's got like pistachios and honey, and it shouldn't be super sickly sweet. And when you go to a restaurant, sometimes it is, and it's not made right. A lot of these old school desserts, they depend upon the fat in the butter and in the cream, which that stuff's naturally got a sweet taste to it, especially if it's grass-fed. The stuff I brought from New York, or actually the farm in New Jersey with me, gosh, that cream is amazing. Heavy cream, you could stick a spoon up in it. Like, the stuff they're selling us in the stores is not real dairy. I don't know what they're selling us, but regular cream does not pour. You have to use a scoop. You have to use a spoon to scoop it out. And I showed my mom, because she's old enough to remember back in the day they used to deliver milk in bottles to her door. She lived in Cleveland when she was a kid, and the local creamery used to have a horse-drawn carriage, and they would come by and they would basically drop off the milk every day, and then my grandma would wash out the bottles, and they would come the next day, pick up the bottles, and give you new milk in new bottles, and they'd sterilize the bottles. And that was, is there anything more environmentally friendly than that? Your local creamery that's feeding their cattle with grass, because you can't really afford to buy this corn, and back then it wasn't subsidized. If you look everywhere now, corn is terrible for the land, right? Everything that lives in a field has to be destroyed for them to grow corn. And they're putting it in gasoline now, telling you that that's making things green. Oh, really? We have 3 oil wells on our farm. I don't know anything more green than just having an iron horse out there pumping the oil out of the ground and into the tanks. And, Permian comes by and picks it up and takes it to the refinery. It's pretty freaking simple, and I don't know. People say it's not a renewable resource and that it's a fossil fuel, but I don't believe that. I think that is one of the dumbest, probably one of the bigger lies that they've told us. I kind of believe the Russian theory that oil is abiotic and basically is replenished within the Earth's crust. Because I'll tell you what happens when you have an oil well. So when you have a good oil well, it's pumping all oil the whole time. And so I think 2 out of 3 of our oil wells, were super good. The first, 5 to 10 years that you're pumping, you get oil all the time. But how you know that an oil well is starting to go dry is it starts pumping up fresh water as well. So then you have to put a separator on the tanks. And so you can actually drive, maybe I'll do that. I'll go drive by in South Maid. That's where our farm is that has the oil wells. And I'll show you the difference between an oil well that is pumping all oil and one that has a separator on it. And they started drilling again once Trump became president here. So we do have new oil wells actually over along this new highway. So I could probably go over there and check too. So I'll try to show you what a separator looks like. So anyways, when the oil starts going dry, quote unquote, you start getting a lot of water. And eventually you only get water. So then, you stop pumping and you let it go for a few years. And then you start pumping it again and there's oil again, because the oil seeps back in to that pocket where you've drilled into. So I don't believe the whole, we had so many dinosaurs with pressurized this and that. This makes no sense to me. And maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see how it could be possible that this oil is oozing from some fossils somewhere. We got fossils on our farm in Sherman. We have a farm that has it's all black land. It's really really nice land to grow crops in. But, it's got limestone in it. And that limestone, you can see there's a lot of fossils in there. of sea creatures, especially because they say that this area of Texas used to be completely underwater, and from the fossils that you see in that limestone, I would say that they're probably telling you the truth. So anyways, this was my first little trip over to the TMC, and I gotta get in here now and program my mom's phone so she knows where we're going. All right, have a good day, y'all.